What if I told you that sometime in the near future, you could step into a car, tell it where you want to go, sit back comfortably, and never touch the steering wheel? No hands on the wheel, no feet on the pedals, no human driver at all. Yet the vehicle still moves, turns, stops, avoids obstacles, navigates traffic, and safely brings you to your destination. It sounds like science fiction, the kind of technology once imagined only in futuristic movies. For decades, the idea of a car driving itself seemed impossible. After all, driving is one of the most complex tasks humans perform every day. A driver must constantly observe the road, interpret signs, predict the actions of others, react to unexpected situations, and make hundreds of decisions every minute. Surely, a machine could never do that. Or so we thought. Today, that future is no longer a fantasy. Driverless cars already exist. They are being tested, used on public roads, and in some places, they are already transporting passengers without a human driver behind the wheel. Which raises a fascinating question.
How is this possible? How can a machine with no eyes, no ears, and no human intuition understand the world around it? How can a car teach itself to drive? To answer that question, we first need to understand how humans drive. When you drive a car, your brain performs an extraordinary number of calculations every second. You look at the road, you monitor traffic, you observe pedestrians, you recognize traffic lights, you read road signs, you estimate speed, you judge distances, you predict danger. And somehow, your brain combines all of that information into a single decision. Brake, accelerate, turn, stop, wait, move. Most experienced drivers don't even realize how much work their brains are doing, because after years of practice, driving becomes almost automatic. But beneath the surface, it remains one of the most complicated activities humans perform. A driverless car must accomplish the same task. The difference is that it cannot rely on human senses. Instead, it relies on technology. A lot of technology.
The first thing a driverless car needs is the ability to see. Because without understanding its surroundings, it cannot drive safely. To achieve this, autonomous vehicles are equipped with a variety of sensors: cameras, radar, ultrasonic sensors, GPS systems, and often a technology known as LiDAR. Each sensor plays a different role. Each provides different information, and together, they create a complete picture of the world. Let's begin with cameras. Cameras are often described as the eyes of the vehicle. They are mounted around the car, in the front, on the sides, in the rear, sometimes even on the roof. These cameras continuously capture images of the surrounding environment: roads, vehicles, pedestrians, traffic signs, traffic lights, bicycles, animals, construction zones, and countless other objects. But simply seeing something is not enough. The car must understand what it is looking at, and that is where things become much more interesting. Imagine showing a photograph to a computer. To a human, the image is obvious. You instantly recognize a person, a bicycle, a stop sign, a dog, or a tree. But to a computer, the image is initially nothing more than millions of colored pixels, tiny squares of information, without meaning, without context, without understanding. The challenge is teaching the machine to interpret those pixels, and this is where artificial intelligence enters the story. Artificial intelligence acts as the brain of the autonomous vehicle. Its job is to analyze information from sensors and determine what is happening in the environment. To accomplish this, AI systems are trained using enormous amounts of data, millions of photographs, millions of videos, millions of driving scenarios. Over time, the AI learns patterns. It learns what pedestrians look like, what cars look like, what road signs look like, what traffic lights look like. And eventually, it becomes capable of recognizing these objects automatically. Yet cameras alone are not enough, because cameras have limitations. Heavy rain can reduce visibility.
Fog can obscure objects. Bright sunlight can create glare. Darkness can make detection difficult. That is why autonomous vehicles also use radar. Radar works differently from cameras. Instead of capturing images, it sends out radio waves. These waves bounce off nearby objects and return to the vehicle. By measuring these reflections, the system can determine the distance and speed of surrounding objects. Radar performs exceptionally well in poor weather conditions: rain, fog, dust, and darkness, situations that can challenge traditional cameras. This makes radar an important safety layer, providing information even when visibility is limited. But perhaps the most fascinating technology used by many autonomous vehicles is LiDAR. LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging, and it is often considered one of the most advanced sensing technologies in modern transportation. LiDAR works by firing millions of laser pulses every second. These lasers travel outward, strike surrounding objects, and bounce back to the sensor. By measuring how long this process takes, the system calculates distance with extraordinary precision. Imagine standing in a dark room and somehow being able to measure the exact location of every object around you. Every wall, every chair, every table, every person, all at once. That is essentially what LiDAR does. The result is a highly detailed three-dimensional map of the environment, a digital representation of reality, built from millions of individual data points. To humans, this map may appear as a cloud of dots, but to the vehicle, it is a rich source of information, one that helps it understand the shape and location of everything nearby. Now comes the next challenge: understanding what all this information means. Imagine the vehicle detects an object ahead. What is it? A pedestrian? A bicycle? A parked car? A garbage can? A traffic cone? The answer determines how the vehicle should react, and making that determination requires advanced artificial intelligence. The AI analyzes data from multiple sensors simultaneously: camera images, radar readings, LiDAR maps, GPS information, and more. It combines these sources into a single understanding of the environment, a process often called sensor fusion. Sensor fusion is incredibly important because no sensor is perfect. Each has strengths, each has weaknesses. But together, they create a much more reliable picture of reality. Once the vehicle understands its surroundings, it faces another challenge: predicting the future. Humans constantly predict future events while driving, often without realizing it. When you see a child standing near a crosswalk, you instinctively prepare for the possibility that the child might cross the road. When you see a car drifting slightly toward another lane, you anticipate a lane change. When you see brake lights ahead, you prepare to slow down. Driverless cars must do the same thing. The vehicle cannot simply react to what is happening right now. It must estimate what might happen next. Will that pedestrian continue walking? Will they stop? Will they step into the road? Will that cyclist turn left? Will that vehicle suddenly brake? The AI continuously calculates probabilities, generating predictions, updating them every second, and preparing responses before events occur. This predictive ability is one of the most important aspects of autonomous driving.
Because safety depends on anticipation, not merely reaction. Once the system understands the environment and predicts what may happen next, it must make a decision. And this is where driving becomes incredibly complicated. Should the vehicle accelerate? Should it slow down? Should it change lanes? Should it stop? Should it yield? Should it turn? Every decision must balance safety, efficiency, comfort, and traffic laws. Imagine approaching a yellow traffic light. A human driver may instinctively decide whether to stop or proceed. But a driverless car performs calculations. It evaluates speed, distance, road conditions, vehicle position, traffic behind it, potential risks, and legal requirements. Only then does it make a decision, often within fractions of a second. After deciding what to do, the vehicle must execute the action. Commands are sent to the steering system, the brakes, and the accelerator. The wheel turns, the vehicle slows, or accelerates smoothly, all without human involvement. In essence, every autonomous vehicle follows a continuous cycle. Observe, understand, predict, decide, act, then repeat, again and again, hundreds of times every second. At this point, you might wonder, if the technology is so advanced, why aren't driverless cars everywhere already? The answer is simple. The real world is messy. Roads are unpredictable. Weather changes. Construction zones appear unexpectedly. Road markings fade. Traffic lights malfunction. People behave irrationally. And every city presents unique challenges. Humans are remarkably good at handling unusual situations. Machines are still learning. Consider a simple example. A ball suddenly rolls into the street. A human driver may immediately suspect that a child could be chasing it, even before seeing the child. This type of reasoning comes naturally to humans because it is based on life experience, common sense, and intuition. Teaching a machine to understand such situations is far more difficult. This challenge remains one of the greatest obstacles in autonomous driving. Building systems that possess not only intelligence, but also practical judgment. Nevertheless, progress continues at a remarkable pace. Every day, autonomous vehicles collect vast amounts of driving data. Millions of miles, millions of scenarios, millions of lessons. Engineers use this information to improve algorithms, refine decision-making, and make vehicles safer. The goal is simple: create a transportation system that is safer than human driving. Because despite our confidence behind the wheel, humans make mistakes. We become distracted. We become tired. We become emotional. We become impatient. Machines do not experience fatigue. They do not become distracted by text messages. They do not fall asleep. And they do not drive under the influence of alcohol. For this reason, many experts believe autonomous vehicles could eventually reduce traffic accidents significantly, potentially saving countless lives. But driverless cars could change far more than safety. They could transform entire industries: transportation, logistics, delivery services, public transit, urban planning, and even the way cities are designed. Elderly individuals who can no longer drive may gain greater independence. People with disabilities may gain new mobility. Commutes could become productive time instead of driving time. And transportation may become more accessible than ever before. Yet, important questions remain. Who is responsible if a driverless car causes an accident? The manufacturer? The software developer? The vehicle owner? Or someone else entirely? Governments around the world are still working to answer these questions, because technology often advances faster than laws can adapt. Despite these challenges, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The era of autonomous vehicles is approaching. Perhaps not tomorrow, perhaps not everywhere at once, but gradually, steadily, and inevitably.
One day, future generations may find it strange that humans once spent hours manually steering vehicles through traffic, just as we find it strange that people once traveled primarily by horse and carriage. Because throughout history, transportation has continuously evolved, and autonomous vehicles may represent the next great leap forward. In the end, a driverless car is much more than a vehicle. It is a machine capable of sensing the world, understanding its environment, making decisions, and acting upon them. It represents one of humanity's most ambitious technological achievements, a combination of engineering, artificial intelligence, robotics, mathematics, and imagination. And every time a driverless car successfully navigates a road, it demonstrates something extraordinary, that machines are beginning to understand the world around them. Whether that future arrives in 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, one thing is certain: the journey has already begun. And we are witnessing one of the most fascinating technological revolutions in human history. The age of autonomous driving is no longer a dream. It is becoming reality.